Okay, so are you ready to dive in? Because things are getting wild in the crypto world.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's been a roller coaster ride lately.
Totally. It's like every day there's some crazy news story that drops and you're like, wait, what? Hold on a second.
Yeah. And trying to figure out what it all means, right?
Exactly. Like, is this just another day in crypto or are we at some kind of a turning point?
Right. It feels different this time.
Yeah, for sure. And we've got a whole stack of news to unpack today. We're talking market reports, legal battles.
Oh, and a new administration that's shaking things up.
Yeah, that's right. Plus, even some warnings from regulators, too. So
It's like we're at a crossroads or something.
it really is
Ah,
a crypto crossroads.
I like that.
All right, so let's kick things off with the elephant in the room, the Trump effect. What do you make of this whole thing? This incoming administration, they seem pretty gung-ho about crypto, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, ending debanking, that's a huge signal.
Yeah, I mean, for those who don't know, debanking is basically when banks just refuse to work with crypto
Yeah.
businesses.
Exactly. It's been a major roadblock for the industry. And now they're talking about a Bitcoin reserve, too.
Yeah, a Bitcoin reserve. Like, what does that even mean?
Right. It's a radical idea, no doubt. It suggests that the U.S. government might actually hold Bitcoin.
Whoa,
Mhm.
like alongside gold and stuff.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly, as part of its reserves.
That's wild. And it's not just talk, right? I mean, they're bringing in some serious crypto people,
Oh, yeah, big names.
like David Sachs, the AI and crypto czar, and Paul Atkins for the SEC.
Yeah, both of them have been pretty vocal about supporting innovation in the crypto space.
So what does all this mean for regulation? Think things are going to loosen up?
I think it's likely Sachs, for example, has talked about creating a regulatory
A
sandbox.
sandbox.
Yeah, basically it would allow crypto companies to experiment more freely without being stifled by regulations right away.
Oh, interesting. So kind of like a testing ground,
Exactly, yeah. So I think we could see a lighter touch from the government going forward.
which could be huge for the industry, right? I mean, Bitcoin is already near $100,000.
It is, yeah. That's incredible growth.
I mean, that's like, what, a lifetime supply of avocado toast?
Haha, probably. But, while the price is exciting, the on-chain metrics are actually even more interesting to me.
On-chain metrics.
Yeah, basically, these metrics track the activity happening on the Bitcoin network itself.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
example, we're seeing a surge in the number of active Bitcoin addresses.
So like more people are actually using it.
Yeah, exactly. And that suggests that the network is growing, which could mean even more price appreciation down the line.
Oh, wow. So it's not just hype, there's real activity behind it.
Right, exactly. But of course, this isn't financial advice or anything, just something to keep an eye on.
Of course, of course. And MarketWatch is pointing to other factors too, right?
Yeah, they mentioned global liquidity and the regulatory environment we were just talking about as potential catalysts for further growth.
For more money sloshing around globally and possibly fewer regulations.
Right, and that could attract even more investors who have been on the sidelines, especially those institutional investors who have been hesitant until now.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, so Bitcoin seems to be doing pretty well, but then there's XRP. I mean, this thing has just gone absolutely bonkers, surging past $3. Like, what is fueling that rocket ship?
Well, there are a few things at play. Technically, XRP has been showing some pretty bullish chart patterns. For example, there's a bull flag formation.
Oh, okay, so that's like a technical indicator that traders look at?
Yeah, exactly. And they see it as a sign of continued upward momentum.
Gotcha.
Then you've got the possibility of new ETFs coming online.
Which would mean?
Well, ETFs could bring in a flood of new investors who might not be comfortable buying XRP directly.
Interesting. And what about the SEC lawsuit against Ripple?
Yeah, that's a big factor too. There have been some recent developments that are being seen as favorable for Ripple.
So that's boosting confidence.
Yeah, exactly. People are feeling more optimistic about XRP's future.
Gotcha. Now, they also mentioned declining inflation as a factor. What does inflation have to do with crypto? I'm not really following that part.
Sure. So when inflation is high, people look for ways to protect their savings from losing value, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
And some people see crypto, especially Bitcoin, as a hedge against inflation.
It's like a safe haven.
Exactly. And now that inflation is cooling down, it's making some people wonder if some of that steam will come out of the crypto market.
Hmm. So is it too late to jump on the XRP bandwagon? What do you think?
Well, I can't give financial advice,
Of course, of course.
but it's definitely a hot topic right now.
Yeah, no doubt.
Right.
Okay, but let's not get too carried away with all the positive news. There are some serious legal battles brewing, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We're seeing a real pushback against the SEC's approach to crypto regulation.
Like, people are saying they've gone too far.
Right. Several states, nonprofits, and industry groups are all arguing that the SEC is overstepping its authority.
Oh, wow. And what are they saying specifically?
Well, they're saying that the SEC is creating too much uncertainty, which is stifling innovation. They want clearer guidelines and more balanced regulations.
So it's like a showdown between the SEC and the crypto world.
It really is. And the outcome could have major implications for the entire industry.
Yeah, no kidding. So who do you think is going to win this thing?
That's hard to say. It's a really complex situation. But, I mean, if the SEC prevails, it could mean stricter rules and more scrutiny for the industry.
And that could slow down innovation.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah.
But if the challengers succeed, it could lead to a more permissive environment.
And that could attract more investment.
Exactly. It's a real fork in the road for crypto.
Totally.
Yeah.
And in the midst of all this, we've got people like Rostin Bainum, the outgoing chair of the CFTC, sounding the alarm bells, right?
Yeah, Bainum has been pretty vocal about his concerns.
What's he worried about?
Well, he's been warning about the risks of an unregulated crypto market.
That
He's particularly concerned about consumer protection. There are a lot of scams and fraud in the space.
Yeah, you can't ignore those stories, like rug pulls and pump and dump schemes.
Exactly. And without proper oversight, he thinks it could get even worse.
So more regulations needed.
Well, he definitely thinks so. He's been urging regulators to step up and implement stronger safeguards for consumers.
It's a tough balance, right?
Yeah.
Innovation versus protection.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. But what does all this mean for the average person who's trying to make sense of the crypto world? It seems like there's so much happening, good and bad, it's hard to know what to believe.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's a lot to take in.
So any advice for our listeners?
I would say the most important thing is to stay informed. Read different sources, be critical of the information you come across.
Don't just believe everything you read.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And most importantly, do your own research.
Okay, yeah.
Don't just follow the hype or take someone's word for it. Dig into the details, understand the risks, and then make your own informed decisions.
That's great advice. It's definitely an exciting time to be following crypto, but it's also a time for caution and due diligence.
Exactly. With so much uncertainty, the future of crypto is still being written, and it's up to each of us to decide what role, if any, it will play in our lives.
A lot to think about. Thanks for breaking it all down for us.
Of course, it was my pleasure. Anytime.
All right, that's all the time we have for today, but make sure to join us next time for another deep dive into the world of crypto.
Yeah, we'll see you then.
See you later.
Bye.